Hello, Year 7. I've just decided to make a short video with some feedback from the Probability 1 lesson, and in particular, the My Maths homework task. One or two of you had scored lower than 70%, so I thought I would make this video. So I'm going to go through each question in turn. Do bear in mind that if this is a task that you've done or it's a task that you're about to do, your numbers will be likely to be different to the questions that I have. So, question 1 was all to do with likelihood. So likelihood is the chance of something happening. And it says for each question, decide whether it is certain. So certain means it's definitely going to happen. Likely, so that means it's more likely to happen than not happen. What I call an equal chance, so it is equally likely to happen, a probability that we might express using the number a half. Unlikely, so less likely to happen than does happen, and impossible is something that can never happen. So this is for a standard die, or what they've called a normal dice. So I need to populate each of these boxes with a letter. You get a number less than 7 when you roll a normal dice. Well, all the numbers on a normal dice are less than 7. So that first one has to be certain. You get a 6 when you roll a normal dice. Well, 6 is one of the outcomes, but it is 1 out of 6 outcomes. So there's 5 other things that could happen. So it's not impossible, but it is unlikely. The front page of a newspaper will contain the word plum. Well, this all depends perhaps on the story in your newspaper. Okay, I'm not going to say it's impossible, because it could happen. But I've not seen many stories about plums recently, so I'm going to go with the option unlikely. Okay, next option is multiplying an even by an even gives an even number. Well, the best way to explore this is try a few things. Try a few numbers. 2 times 4 is an even times an even, and that's 8. Okay, 10 times 10 is an even times an even, and that's 100. An even times an even is actually always an even number. So that is certain. And the next person you pass in the street is male. So I hope this next person is practicing social distancing, but it should be an equal chance because half the population will be male and half is female. It probably isn't quite exactly a half, but we're going to go equal there. Okay. Next of all, we have to choose the bag which best matches each description. So we have a bag with green sweets and a bag with stripy sweets. And it is impossible that Ethan will get a stripy sweet from this bag. So we're looking for a bag that has no stripy sweets at all. That is bag number 2. It is likely that Ethan will take a stripy sweet. Now, if it is likely, it means there must be more stripy than non-stripy. So that's bag 4. And finally, it is an even, which I call equal. It is an equal chance that Ethan will take stripy sweet. So we're looking for the bag that has the equal number of stripes and non-stripes. And that is bag 3. Click mark it. There we go. Let's have a look at the second page. So, looking at the second page, it says 4 dice are being tested for fairness. Look at the results below and decide whether each dice is probably fair, probably unfair, or hard to be sure. Now, for a dice to be fair, you would expect every single outcome, numbers 1 to 6, to occur about the same number of times. But if you haven't rolled the dice many times, it can be quite hard to tell. So that's the kind of criteria that I'm going to use. If the numbers for the frequencies are about the same, it's probably fair. If the numbers for the frequencies are very different, then I'm going to go unfair. And if it hasn't been rolled many times, I'm going to put hard to tell. So looking at dice number 1, there's a lot of 1s and very few 6s, so I'm going to say unfair. Dice number 2 hasn't really been rolled enough to know, so I'm going to say not sure either way. Dice number 3, each of those outcomes is about 50, so I'm going to say that's probably fair. And again, dice number 4, it hasn't been rolled enough to know, so I'm going to say hard to be sure. Right, on this last and final diagram, it says complete the instructions which will make the statements true, and there is an example. If you want to make getting a plain sweet from that bag impossible, you have to remove all 3 plain sweets. So, the one that I need to do first is stripy twice as likely as plain. So if I want stripy twice as likely, I currently have 2 stripy sweets. So for that to be twice as likely, I would only need 1 plain sweet. So I need to remove 2 plain. For stripy to be impossible, I'd have to remove all the stripy sweets. So that is remove 2 stripy. Stripy and plain equally likely. Well, there isn't an equal number at the moment, but it's asking me to add something. So to make the stripy and plain equal, I would have to add 1 stripy, and then there would be 3 of each. And for plain twice as likely as stripy, well, there's 2 stripy, and if plain was twice as likely, I'd need 4, so I need to add 1 plain. Okay, so there we go. I hope that has helped some of you. It makes more sense. If you do want to go back and have another go at that homework, then feel free. That is not a problem at all. But for the time being, that's me signing out. Take care and goodbye.